Peace. This King Noble Black Supremacy. And in this particular video, I want to talk about Floyd, Mayweather, who've just come under some recent tax concerns. Supposedly he owns some taxes. He's supposed to pay some taxes, but he wants to wait to after his fight with Conor McGregor in order to settle whatever tax issues that has come up. Now this Floyd Mayweather with trunks of money, suitcases of money, dragging money around, money in bodyguards, houses, cars, whips, but tax troubles. Interesting. So he's one that's considered well-to-do and rich, but Uncle Sam still in his ass. And then you got on the other end DMX, who's come under some tax issues. They're claiming tax evasion, that he owed 1.7 million, I believe. $1.7 million. That supposedly he's been making all this money and he ain't been paying no taxes. And on his tax form, they asked him how much did he make. This is DMX. And he put on there unknown. So now he's been arrested and detained for tax evasion. So he can attack the very rich or those we consider to be well-to-do. They black. And those who kind of fucked over a lot of their money, made some bad decisions repeatedly, and just wasn't financially savvy. He's coming under attack, DMX. So it can attack either ends of the spectrum. What both ends of the spectrum have in common is they're both black. So I'm going to call this video Black Celebrities, or no, I'll call it Financial Freedom, Extortion, and Ransom. Is black financial freedom, extortion, and ransom? Now, a lot of people want to make a lot of money because they believe in the idea of financial freedom. A lot of your black economists and black wealth thinkers, buy black-owned business, minded people believe in financial freedom or black elevation through financial development. We know your thinkers that think along these lines, Boyce Watkins. We're pretty much aware of who they are. But I'm saying that financial freedom for black people in America is extortion and ransom. Because if freedom, which many would argue, brother polite, if freedom deals with finances, then that means if you don't have the money, you really aren't free. If you don't have the money, you don't have freedom. If freedom is financial, and if the more money you have, the more freedom you have as a black person. So you weren't free with the Emancipation Proclamation. You weren't freed after Abraham Lincoln. You weren't freed after the Civil War. You were still a slave. And that your only freedom, according to these thinkers, would come from financial freedom. So that means that you're a hostage. You're a slave with very little freedom. Because it takes money to travel, money to leave the country, money to get your passport, money to go from state to state, money to go from city to city, money to have a lawyer, money to go out of jail, get out of jail, money for medical care, money for everything. So you're not free to do anything and live and be happy, according to these thinkers, unless you have money. So if you have money, That would make you a slave. And by working for the system, you're paying your own ransom. You're a hostage paying for your own ransom. Because you really were supposed to be free, but you can't be free unless you have a certain amount of money. So to really be free now, you have to make sure you pay your master for what you call freedom, what you call financial freedom. You have to pay him for that. You have to pay your oppressor. You have to pay your slave master. You have to rent freedom from the IRS. If freedom is financial, if there's a such thing as financial freedom. Financial freedom for black people is for sale, it's for rent. How could they argue that? So you're on a leash for the IRS. And you're being extorted. Here you got those people that stole everything from you, enslaved you, held you in bondage, make you build this country, use you for free labor, and then tell you that you're free. But you can't experience this freedom unless you have financial freedom. So you want more money, more businesses, to be more of a celebrity. And you get all the way up there and you're reminded, hey, you're not free, you got to pay for that. Nah, you ain't free. You're not free to have the wealth you had before you was a slave, where you didn't have to pay no devil. You didn't have to pay no cracker. You didn't have to pay his system of white supremacy. You didn't have to give any money to his institutions before he brought you over here on that boat. Your wealth was your wealth. It was African money, African wealth, African gold, African resources. Now, you got to pay your slave master. You got to pay your pimp, your overlord. You got to pay your taxes. You got to pay for freedom. The whole idea of financial freedom is paying for freedom. The whole concept driving black economics is an attempt to buy freedom. But the more money you get, like the song say, the more problems you have. And you're still a slave. And you still have to pay the white man. And you have to check in with Whitey. With all this money, you under his laws of revenue, under his codes. They don't call them the Jim Crow anymore. It's just tax laws, tax requirements. There is no such thing as financial freedom in this country when you have to pay your slave master to have the illusion of the freedom that finances offer you by having more of them. Financial freedom is all about integration, because you're going to have to spend more money with white people and outsource with white institutions and white establishments. And you're going to be giving more money to the government, IRS, what you claim to be against. You're going to have to give more money to the system. The more money you get, the more of it you're going to have to get to the system. Some people say, no, you don't. There's ways around that. I bet you Mayweather thought there was ways around that. I thought DMX thought there was ways around that. I thought Lauryn Hill thought there was ways around that. Nas and Method Man, Wesley Snipes thought there was ways around it. And there are ways around it until they get mad at you. Because if they like you, if you got white privilege and you're a white man like Kyvan Bundy that owed millions of dollars, or Trump, who's clearly behind in his taxes, no problem. There are ways around it. But if you're a black celebrity experiencing financial freedom that nigga you ain't paid for, nigga, then you're gonna be in for a rude awakening. So when they don't like you anymore, when they not feeling you no more, nigga, your methods of eluding or getting around their tax system comes down on you. See, it's just an alternative tax plan for the white man. You know, just a glitch or a loophole. But for the black man, it's evasion. You owe money. We bringing you to the table because they can extort you. Because they don't see you as nothing but a nigga anyway, no matter how much money you got. And if you ain't paid for your financial freedom, then you a thief. Because nigga, you ain't paid for your freedom. You gotta buy your freedom by working for your slave master from sun up to sundown and being a slave. Whether you a rapper, a boxer, it doesn't fucking matter. You'll better buy your freedom, boy. That's the problem I have with financial freedom. It's an illusion. You still a nigga that's just basically trying to buy his freedom. But the real people who want freedom, the real black people who want freedom, are willing to turn on their master, destroy the plantation, destroy white supremacy, take their freedom, claim their freedom. They demand their freedom now. And they will end white supremacy and destroy the plantation if it means that they will be free. Or they'll just be runaway slaves. But they're not going to buy their freedom. Specifically, when you're trying to buy a freedom that you can never fully pay for, because the more money you get to buy more freedom, the more you owe, and the more you become a debtor, and the more you become a slave. And the more you're at the mercy of your accountant, and the mercy of the Internal Revenue Services, and the mercy of bookkeeping, and your freedom is at the mercy of accounting, and the mercy of the recession, and the mercy of the economy of this society. So it's a freedom that you'll never attain. It's like the carrot at the end of the stick, or the snake chasing his own tail. You'll never attain the freedom, because the more money you get, the more you become a slave. And they'll remind you of how much a slave you are, no matter how free you feel. And now you got more money, but you got an issue that the person without money don't have. You got a master standing over you. I had to go in on this. The whole tax evasion thing is a wake-up call for black celebrities and black people with money. It's a wake-up call. You a nigga in this country, whether you like it or not. And the only freedom you're going to have that's going to be real is the freedom that you take and the freedom that you're willing to stand up and fight for. This King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnobleuncensored.com. Donate and don't hate. Subscribe to my YouTube page now, King Noble Guru. Go ahead and make your subscription. And also follow me on Instagram at kingnobleuncensored.c.o.m. Black Supremacy.